Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Speech Check. I am Sam,
And I'm Matt.
and this is episode 24.
And today we're going to talk about Walking Dead Onslaught, Cold War Zombies, and stick around to the end to hear our comments on your question from last episode. But before we talk about any of that, Sam, what have you been playing?
I've only really been playing one thing, and that's more Warzone. I've been getting more and more into it, and Season 6 started this week.
Ooh.
So there's a big drop of content and like a new battle pass and stuff. So there's probably more people playing it than there would be, and I've got quite a few people that I can play with because I've got some of the guys from work, all my friends play it, and a few other random people as well. So yeah, it's nice to have a game that has quite a big social aspect to it.
Hmm.
I'm not that good at it just because I'm not really playing the game properly. I'm trying to play it like old school COD. I'm a runner and a gunner. Lives have always been like an expendable asset in COD. So I run around thinking, oh, it doesn't matter if I die because I'll just respawn. And then you don't.
Haven't you got to go to like the gulag, beat someone up or something?
Yes, you have a 1v1 on your first death, and if you beat the guy, you respawn back in. If not, you go out. And then if you die the second time, you don't come back.
Oh, okay.
In solos, but then if you're with other people, they can buy you back.
Oh.
And I didn't play solos, I play YOLOs. Because generally to win solos, you gear yourself up, you get your loadout. People generally get the ghost to keep them off the radar, and then camp a building, camp a roof generally.
That sounds frustrating.
Yeah, and usually just like hug a corner, and I'm like, no, I'm crashing through doors, I'm sprinting around, collecting stuff, doing contracts, and I'm trying to find and kill the campers. I would rather wreck a campers game than win the game myself.
Win the personal victory.
Yeah, definitely. I'd rather screw someone over and then like get shot in the back immediately. But as I've felt with COD since time immemorial, as soon as I kill someone, turn around because you're probably just on a big old train. You're chasing a guy, and there's someone chasing you, and there's someone chasing them.
Mm.
So, but I got my first win as well. I won in quads. I mean, I only had one death in our whole squad.
Oh,
I don't
nice.
think I had that many kills, but it's nice to get the win. It seems like such a far away feat because it's like 150 people, I think,
Christ,
in the
that's
game.
massive.
Yeah, so to win that, obviously in quads, it's only like 30 teams, which sounds small because it does it on the team position, but there could be still like 100 people left in the game. So
Hmm.
yeah, that's the main thing I've been playing. I have watched something though.
Ooh.
I watched The Fall. If you've heard of that,
No.
it was a BBC series, but now it's on Netflix. It was on advisement from one of Danielle's friends, and it's a killer thriller. Does that make sense? It's a thriller about a serial killer,
Okay.
and it's set in Belfast, so not the most explored of locations.
Hmm.
But it's got Jamie Dornan in it, the guy from 50 Shades.
Okay. I've not seen
Um,
50 Shades, but okay.
I'm trying to think of something else he's been in. That's definitely what he's most known for. But I've seen him in like interviews and stuff, and he's like a normal man who is an actor.
Oh.
He's like quite down to earth. And Gillian Anderson, as in Scully from X Files.
Cool. She's a good actress.
Yeah, she's good. She does a good English accent as well. And they are the psycho killer and the like special investigator brought in to hunt them down, respectively.
Oh, Jamie Dornan's the killer.
Yeah, it's pretty formulaic. It's got like the cat and mouse thing where they almost catch him, then he gets away, and then a pursuit, and then it gets close and all that kind of stuff. But the like performances from those two are really good. They don't interact much, but the separate performances from them are really good, and I would recommend. You do have to kind of pay attention to it though, because there's a lot of the episodes are like an hour long,
Hmm.
and there's a lot of faces and names flying around. So you have to kind of pay attention to who is who when they're referring to people. But yeah, I'd recommend it. It was good. Dragged on a little bit. There's 3 seasons, and probably didn't need a third season, in my opinion. But yeah, that's what I've been playing and watching. What have you been playing, Matt?
Well, I decided to pick up a mediocre open world game from
Well, you,
2016.
well, you say mediocre.
Well, I became obsessed with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mad Max. I've been playing lots of it. Can't seem to put it down. It got a really bad rap on release, and I think I know why. I also don't entirely understand it. Like it's quite generic in terms of an open world. Go to a place, beat people up, finish objectives, collect things, yada yada yada. But you've got the whole like car combat aspect because it's Mad Max, and they've implemented it really well. In the open world, you have like convoys going around that are like shipping gasoline or oil from one place to another, and you have to intercept them. So you'll have like a lead car that's filled with gasoline that's like flanked with a bunch of buggies with blokes waiting to jump onto your car, and it's your job to like get through everyone, blow up the lead car, and then deal with whatever's left. And they go in these huge loops around the map. So it's almost like a mini boss fight in a way, where you drive this loop around and around, trying to fight these guys off so that you can destroy the car. But that's a really fun bit of gameplay that I don't really see. You don't get it typically in open world games, especially, but you don't really get it anywhere. And the combat's pretty fun. It's like Diet Arkham. Like you can punch and counter, and then if you get your combo high enough, you go into a rage mode, and you just deal more damage and do bigger attacks. And that's kind of
Lords of the Fallen have a similar sort of thing. Did you play Lords of the Fallen?
Potentially, I thought Lords of the Fallen was the Dark Souls ripoff.
It might have been. I might be confusing my stuff. But sorry, yeah, carry on.
Yeah, that's kind of like it. I think the thing that has drawn me in about it is the progression. Because there's nothing that's meaningless in the world. Everything that you chase down has some value somewhere beyond get 1 million of these to upgrade this. Every encampment that you move to, or every leader that you start following in their stronghold, they have little projects that you can build around their stronghold that mean that they do different things when you arrive back at it. So if you get all of the pieces of the gas tank, when you arrive back with your car, it's automatically filled up. If you get the water purifier, you get water every time. So you might go to a scavenge location, get a project part, and think, oh, I'm now like 2 out of 3 to getting the maggot farm, so I can restore my health every time I return. And then you might chase that down. You know what I mean? It's like there's so many small bits of progression that you always feel like you're building up. And I'm like I've 100%ed the first 2 areas I've been through. And I'm planning on just absolutely rinsing it, to be honest. It's just fun, like dumb fun.
I don't know if it's the correct psychological way to do it, but I prefer little and often rewards. So like you're always unlocking something, I don't know, maybe every 15 minutes to half an hour, rather than find 100 of these, you get nothing between that until you get 100, and then you get the ultimate thing. For me, the carrot on the stick is too far away. I prefer like the little sequential rewards.
Yeah, I think having lots of small goals that are all contributing to one larger one is much more satisfying, and you like you said, you don't feel that far away from getting at least something that also isn't just arbitrary. It isn't like I've got another skill point. It's like I can now actually do something that affects my gameplay. There is something else that's happening. Like it's just a bit of fun, really. But they do use the same boss. I've fought the same boss 6 times, and that's not even a joke. So, like in the on foot sections, they just have this guy called Top Dog who they bring back every time in every area. I don't understand why. And the fight is always the same. He's just a big armored dude with like a mace, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna have the same fight with you again. And why? Just do something else. But I think that's the problem with open world design. A question for a different day. I played a bit of Among Us as well, and it has completely put me off streamer games entirely. I'm done. No more Fall Guys, no more Among Us. It's just
it's a weird new market, I think, that's come up, that you can see like the streamer hook, if that makes sense.
Yeah, they either want it to be social or to like promote a reaction. I don't mind, like social games, and Among Us is quite an interesting tweak on like the ultimate werewolf archetype. Or the, what is it, Wink Assassin, where you all sit around in a circle. It's basically that. Like it's an old kind of game, but it has some new twists on it and stuff, and that's fine. That's fine to have like a more socially engineered game. Cool. But there's just not enough to them. They're just not enough of a game. And I'd rather play an average open world game from 5 years ago than play like the next hot like streamer game.
I get the appeal of it. Like you said, there's a big social aspect to it, and it's probably a good drinking game to play with your mates.
I think it's a
Like,
good
to get
party
people around.
game. Genuinely a good
Yeah.
party game. But besides that, I really don't know. And there's another one I saw. Phantasmophobia, I want to say. And it's got overwhelmingly positive Steam reviews. And it just looks like a walking simulator. And I saw a YouTube video like on my recommended that was just some bearded guy's face screaming. And it was like, Phantasmophobia is the scariest thing since... Oh. Like, okay, cool. So that's another trash game I can ignore. Maybe a bit harsh, but I didn't like it.
There's been an influx of, like you say, streamer games of late, so it's natural to get a bit of lethargy on some of them, if not all of them, and especially horror games as well, because sometimes I feel like they're played just for the reactions.
Yeah, like they just put jump scares in them. There's no real systems or mechanics, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, this game is so scary." It's like, no, it's not. It's really average, and it just makes you poop your pants every 2 minutes. That's not Silent Hill 2, is it? That's a scary game. That'll give you nightmares and existential dread. How about that?
Yeah, true dread, playing something like Amnesia or, like, say, Silent Hill, that's like a genuine scary game where you're freaking yourself out and there's nothing there.
Exactly.
Not jump scares. But that's a topic that the both of us, I think, could harp on about for a while. So
Yeah, I'm gonna shut up. That's what I've been playing.
Yeah. Cool. So that's what we've been playing. But Matt now is going to tell us about the releases. Matt, go for it.
Okay. So our first release today is Star Wars Squadrons, coming at us from Motive Studios, released the 2nd of October 2020. Unsurprisingly, it's a space shooter set in the Star Wars universe. The game has been developed with VR in mind. Sit in first person in your cockpit, and you can turn your head and look at weird gadgets and dials. But I like the way that it's been included in this game. So it isn't like the Iron Man game that we covered a few episodes back, where it is just for VR. It is a VR game. This is more of like an honest inclusion, let's say. It's not gimmicky. You're not getting stuff thrown at your face all the time, all that kind of stuff. And it can be played without VR. As you'd expect from a Star Wars game, well, as you'd hope, I suppose, it nails the universe. So like the sound work, the voice effects, everything sounds and looks great. It's a AAA game, and it really does invoke that feeling of the Star Wars setting. It's kind of like hearing a pulse rifle when you play an Aliens game. You know, you just get that like, ooh, yes, please.
As much shit as Battlefront 2 gets, they really nailed that in that game as well. Like you said, the laser sounds and the sounds of the spacecraft and stuff, they were on point. So it's nice to see that they've been done just as well in this.
Yeah, when it's just like just right, just like, oh yep, you got that exactly on point. So the single player for this game follows both the Empire and the Republic as you play in various skirmishes and battles, and the meat of the gameplay is unsurprisingly piloting a ship. So primary objective is usually dogfighting or blowing up some larger ship. All of the ships have customizable hulls and weapons, and each of the ships themselves all feel unique. So you can pilot X-Wings, Y-Wings, TIE Fighters, all sorts basically, every popular ship. And they've all got their own, like I said, properties. And on top of that, you have a power management system. So you could drop power to your shields and put it all into your weapons and become a glass cannon for a second, or jam it all into thrusters when you're trying to lose someone, which I think is pretty cool. But it's given me a weird feeling about where this game sits, but I'll get to that in just a second. The single player acts as kind of a tutorial for the multiplayer, which is where I think they want this game to shine. So you go through some missions. It's maybe only 5-10 hours long. And then you get into the multiplayer action, which starts off at dogfights, essentially TDM in space.
Yeah.
And then when you get to level 5, you move on to the larger missions where you have to destroy a much larger vessel in space. And that's kind of like a moving objective. So it will actually move around a planet, move through an asteroid field or something, and you have like a dynamic play space. There are some players that are saying that the dogfighting is actually quite imbalanced right now. And the dominant strategy is to find a corner, sit in it and engage long-range missiles. And that sounds a bit lame.
That's a shame.
Yeah, I think it's just because it's... I mean, dogfighting games tend to have a higher skill floor, just because you need to be aware of so much more. And if you've got people who don't quite know how to fly properly, and you're sat there with long-range missiles, then it's easy pickings, isn't it? You know?
Mm.
There's also a co-op mode, which allows you to go up against AI. That's more your bag. And this is the most exciting bit of news. There is no store, and there are no microtransactions.
In an EA game?
I know.
Electronic Arts game, there's no economy to be had.
This time, it is not in the game.
Maybe it's an apology for Battlefront 2.
I think they should still be apologizing. And all their other horrendous practices.
They've saved themselves on this, but we're going to get to it. You wait till the news, and I've got something to drop on you. But
please do.
Carry on.
So yeah, the game has also been recognized by the devs as not having as much content as a full price title, so it's cheaper. Which
yeah, it's like 35 quid. I think I saw it on the store.
Yeah, I was surprised. You know, a developer and publisher would be like, "Yep, it's pretty small, so we're charging a fair amount for it."
On a big
what?
like Star Wars as a license as well, you could probably charge quite a lot for that. But I suppose they've got it. They buy it in bulk, right? So they can just make as many games as they want from that because they've done what Fallen Order, Battlefront 2, and now this. So
yeah, just seeing positive business practices from EA is just completely astounding. I'm going to get back to that point I made when I mentioned the power and where I don't really know where this game sits, because the whole power management mechanic I think is quite cool, and it adds another layer to just dogfighting. But I don't know if it maybe puts it into kind of a no man's land, where people who enjoyed like older Star Wars dogfighting games aren't going to like that extra layer of complexity, and people who do like that complexity already have stuff like Elite Dangerous and EVE Online or whatever to kind of sate that hunger, whether it's in an odd space. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I'm a big Rogue Squadron fan, and even the dogfighting in, because Battlefront 2 had a Starfighter Assault mode where you could pilot planes and stuff, and it had similar, you had like hero ships that you could use special abilities on. It had more health and stuff like that, and that was quite good. And it had, you still had to like, it had like 3 reticles where it would like show you where you would lead your shots. So if you shot, obviously in front of a target, if they were turning left to meet them, and that felt really good in that. Maybe this is for more of a purist thing, but I don't know how many Star Wars fans are also dogfighting fans. As a fan of Rogue Squadron, I know I'm probably in the minority, or that people don't remember those games. Like gamers now, like the generation below us, probably don't remember those games. So
the GameCube one.
Yeah, Rogue Squadron was N64, and then you had Rogue Leader and Rebel Strike. I had all of them. So, but yeah, I like to see the people who are in that sort of concentric overlapping circle. I'd imagine it's quite small, but like you said, yeah, they might do well, but maybe being on EA Play / Xbox Game Pass, maybe that will hide, because I'll get it for free because I have Game Pass. So maybe it will pick up an audience that way.
But I will await to hear your feelings on it, because I'm probably not going to pick it up. I'm not a big fan of dogfighting games personally.
It's a small like niche category, but yeah, I love it. I don't know why. I love that. I love Lilac Wars.
Oh, Lilac Wars is a different story.
All stuff Star Fox. That's more of a on rails, isn't it? But yeah, those games, I love them.
I'll tell you what you don't love. Walking Dead Onslaught. That's what, or you won't love it.
I shan't love it.
You shan't love it, sir. Coming us from Servius, or Servios Games, 29th of September 2020. This is a VR title that ties into the Walking Dead universe. Is it just me, or do people keep making Walking Dead VR games? Why?
No, it's not just you. People do keep doing that. And they shan't do it.
They shan't. You mustn't. You mustn't, sir. So this... I wanted to like it. Like, when I was watching the reviews on it, I was like, okay, looks kind of cool. You know, they've got... I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay. Horde shooter. more than anything, you have a base building mechanic. So you go out, you do, they call them supply runs. You get stuff from an environment, you kill zombies along the way. Everyone's having a great time. You get back to your camp, which is the camp from the show. I do not watch the show, so I can't say what it's called. It's got some kind of biblical name. Do you know, Sam?
Used to watch it. They changed variously over the seasons, but I imagine it's the one from like season maybe 5 or 6 onwards. But yeah, the name eludes me.
Okay, we're going to call it Camp Jebediah. So you go back to
very good.
Camp Jebediah, and you do all your upgrades there. Gives you more ammo, better weapons, blah blah. You know, your basic loot grind treadmill. So you have your horde mode supply run that kind of runs alongside the story mode, which is basically the same. You're still just going to a location, plowing through zombies, and getting to the end of a linear map, except the emphasis is on moving forwards rather than looting the area, but you still can loot. So there's not too much distinction there, I suppose. Something really odd, an odd inclusion, is like a battle royale style fog that moves through some of the areas to kind of push you onwards. I believe it's just in the story section of the game, right? And it's like this red wall, and it's supposed to represent like a horde of walkers coming towards you. So you have to like move away from them because you can't possibly fight them. But if you go into it, like say you're heading towards it, right? You can see the silhouettes of all these walkers, and it's like, oh, there's a lot out there. You go into it, and they're just a billboard, and you just go into a red-tinted area that damages your health over time.
No.
I was like, what? I mean, you could have just
done
that.
So it is just the storm/gas from Fortnite and Warzone.
Yeah, it just is like a battle royale style fog, whatever it may be in your chosen flavor. It's just that. And the shooting looks okay. I'm not a VR connoisseur. I've heard some bugbears from VR fans that have said things like the way you reload isn't really done. So you just press a button and there's an animation that happens. You don't actually like move your hands, reach for a clip and put it in the gun or whatever, which I think is like the good way to do it. And when you pick up items, you just click on them and they disappear into an inventory which doesn't actually exist. It just like goes back to town almost. It's not like you have to manage how much you're holding or whatever. It just appears in your inventory. And again,
you think they would have had that as a thing of like, oh, do I drop this or do I keep it? Like, am I going to find something better or?
Yeah, no, you just like, bink, just pop it away, disappear it, put it in your magic pocket. It's all gone. So that's weird. Apparently, the common thing to do with picking up items in VR is to like drag them to your back or something, or like reach for your backpack or do something like that. I don't know.
But just something, right?
Something. It doesn't happen here, whatever it may be. One cool inclusion is actors from the show, including Norman Reedus. The single player is only 5 hours long and doesn't really develop on any of the story at all in any meaningful way. Just retells little bits of it, and that's kind of it. The thing I found funniest, let's say, when I was watching and reading reviews on this, is how lazy the balancing this game is. So in the show, all of the zombies are like made of paper mache or something, so you can just like put your finger in their eye and then you immediately destroy their brain. And
yeah, they're like disheveled and demented. Demented? What the hell? Deteriorated. That's the word I'm looking for.
They probably are a bit demented as well.
Oh yeah, more than likely. If you're eating human flesh, maybe that's not a hobby you want to pursue.
I wouldn't say so. Yeah, basically you can kill them with a spork if you try hard enough. And in this, they've tried to represent that feel by having a stab to a zombie's head be instantly fatal. So you can like reach out with one hand, grab him on the neck, and then stab him in the head. And that sounds cool, right? Wrong. It's not cool.
No.
It ruins your game balance.
Shut up and get off the podcast.
So
you could just walk through a horde of zombies, just like flicking people in the head, right? Just like doink 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 doink.
Yep. So if you imagine just like a psycho style stabbing motion, you know, Hitchcock stabbing, you could just walk at anyone and just Hitchcock everyone. It doesn't matter how big the horde is; they will kind of slowly come towards you, and you just stab them in the top of the head. And your like fully auto spas 12 won't be taking them down as efficiently as your rusted pocket knife, which just seems to completely defeat the object completely. So yeah, this is a solid miss and a huge missed opportunity for me. I'm going to move on to one for you, Sam. Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time. Coming at us from Toys for Bob, 2nd of October 2020. This is a direct sequel of the original trilogy, which is nice. They're just ignoring a few other entries that I didn't know existed. And broad overview, Toys for Bob have done a fantastic job. They've previously worked on the Spyro remaster, and they made a load of the Skylanders games, apparently.
Okay. I did not know that. I know they made the Reignited trilogy, which was, as you say, it's fantastic.
And I think their nuance in 3D action kind of shows itself here. So Crash has all of his classic stuff. You know, it's exactly how you'd think it would be. Spin, run, jump, slide, all the stuff you know, combined with a bunch of new stuff like wall running, and the quantum masks give Crash a ability for a short time. So you might be able to invert gravity, slow down time. I saw one that was a jetpack. I couldn't work out if that was a pickup or a quantum mask, but essentially these new mechanics just knit into the universe perfectly, and it's a testament to how good the level design is for this game. They make the challenge perfect for these new mechanics. And along with these new mechanics, you have new characters as well, whose names escape me, except for Neo Cortex.
I'm going to come to your rescue, and I'm pretty sure it's Torna, who was the girlfriend in Crash 1, and Dingo Dar.
Yep, you are right. Dingo Dar has a King K. Rool style suck and cuck gun where he can suck things up in the environment and then shoot them at other stuff. And Torna has a grapple hook. And these characters come with their own special levels that showcase their mechanics, which is cool. You also get classic levels and inverted levels, I believe they are called. Yes, it has inverted mode, where it isn't just the level is backwards, but there's also other things that go on that make it different, more challenging. And my review part for this is really, really short, and I think it's because it's just good. They've just taken Crash and made a really honest sequel to it, and they've added mechanics to it. You know, they've kept the visuals the same, sound the same, updated everything respectfully. And if you're a Crash fan, I think it's a pickup. I know there was an outcry when the first trailer came out, and people were like, "Nah, you shouldn't have new abilities. It should be exactly the same as I remember it."
Gamers, man, they don't know what they want. They're like, we want the exact same thing, but not the exact same. We want it new but different. Oh, that's too different. That's too new.
Yeah,
You're just why are you remaking the old game?
Especially like you've just had a remaster of the classic trilogy, and you're like, "Oh, this brand new sequel's too different. I want to play the old games." Well, then do it. They're right there. Like,
maybe people wanted a remake of Wrath of Cortex, because even though that was the first one for the PS2, that's like still considered a really good game, which it was. And then the series as a whole took a weird detour where it had Crash Twinsanity, where you played as Crash and Cortex, and you had like weird team abilities. It was like a pseudo open world game. It was weird. So yeah, but no, this looks really good. I've got a few things to pay for this month because it's Daniel's birthday. But once I've sorted all those finances out, I will more than likely be buying this.
it's for you. You will love it. This is your kind of thing because it's really fucking hard.
I do thrive at that. It's interesting that I think you'd say that, because I know platform games in this day and age is maybe a point where we differ, because I'm quite a fan of those, whereas I don't know, maybe you think they're a little bit too simplistic, maybe?
I just don't really.
Maybe there's not enough game there, I guess.
It just didn't capture my attention, I suppose. Maybe I'm just a picky gamer, I don't know. Yeah, like I started off with the intro. I'm fucking playing Mad Max and loving it, so what is my taste?
Well, every one of my friends who's played it has said everyone has been surprised by how much fun they've had in it. Not necessarily that it's a masterpiece, but it's like, do you know what? I enjoyed it more than I thought I would.
Oh, also, story is based on the notes of the original writer. So if there's a sequel to Fury Road, it might contain some of the elements that you find in Mad Max the game. It's
That's
like
cool.
in canon. It's heavy in canon. Crash Bandicoot 4, really good game. Pick it up if you like getting your ass kicked by platformers. And that's
I will. Don't worry.
new section. Me, I'm going to stop.
Thanks, Matt. I'm enlightened as always.
No worries, man. So I'm going to close my wind flaps and let Sam open his. Sam, wash me with your wind flaps.
I'm probably just going to talk about the news instead, to be honest.
Fair enough.
So, my first little story is that Windows 10 is going to be soon to get an update to the task manager within the Xbox game bar that has a gaming dedicated widget. It's going to allow you to assess performance and resources without leaving or alt-tabbing out games.
That's cool.
I know. The new widget will be named Resources, ironically. Yeah, more or less just means you don't have to exit a game to check if your CPU or RAM is peaking or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm throwing around terms I don't really know right now because I'm not a PC guy, but I'm looking to you to verify, Matt.
No, you're on point.
Like with most of the Xbox/Microsoft updates, you will need to join the preview program as an Xbox insider via Windows 10 in order to get this right now. As far as I'm aware, there's no official word on like a full launch date, but it's probably not too far away. They're generally around a month, maybe 2 months ahead sometimes. Again, throwing it over to you, Matt. From what I know, Windows as like a gaming storefront is generally considered not great. I don't know if it's just because it's bad or because it's just a bit basic and Steam, everybody is already on Steam.
I think you just can't compete.
Mm.
We've spoken about this before about all these proprietary clients, and they're just never gonna be good enough. You know, it's like Steam is the game. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
The game or the GameStop. And so when you say Windows 10 is going to get the widget, that will just be like on the taskbar. I don't have to be signed into Windows Games or anything.
I don't believe so, no. There wasn't a whole bunch of details about it. So basically, on a Windows 10, if you type in Xbox,
it has it on my.
It's a nice little thing there for people. I get maybe if you can stream games from your Xbox to your PC, laptop, whatever. So maybe it'll be good for that, but fringe cases. But if it's not going to cost you anything, it's just another little thing they're doing to appease people. So it's nice, at least. My next item is a bit of a callback to Matt's item of Star Wars Squadrons and EA's microtransactions. And I know it's hard to believe, but EA have made a big boo-boo with their latest marketing for FIFA 21 by promoting paying for their in-game currency, which is FIFA points, to children, specifically children, in a print ad in the Smith's toy magazine. It all came from an image posted on Twitter from an ironically named account called All FIFA Mistakes, who shared a photo from the Smiths magazine that read, quotes, Step 1, start playing FIFA Ultimate Team. Step 2, use FIFA points to open packs. Step 3, build your dream squads. Step 4, take them to the pitch and play. Which is actually just a rehash of the stuff, like the exact quote they used last year, but in a more relevant setting. From the photo I saw, it was, if you go into Game or GameStop, there's like a marquee, like a big thing advertising a game that had like a cardboard cutout of some football players on it, and I had it on that, so a bit more appropriate. EA then told Eurogamer that the ad will now be pulled, and that they, quotes, take very seriously the responsibilities we have when marketing EA games and experiences in channels seen by children. And they added, quotes, in spite of this, we're aware that advertising for FIFA points has appeared in environments it shouldn't have. We've been working diligently with Smiths to ensure this advertisement is not distributed in any remaining copies of their 2020 catalogue. We have also undertaken an immediate review of all future media placements and are working to ensure each of our marketing efforts better reflects the responsibility we take for the experience of our younger players. It's a very covert apologetic speech there, but it's just another bullet in the chamber for people who are campaigning for stricter regulations on microtransactions and loot boxes. And it's EA again. Like, did you not learn from Battlefront 2? There should be a whole team of people making sure this stuff doesn't happen. And like every time they go to implement a microtransaction system or an economy, there should be like a full review of it, right? To not have a Battlefront 2 again.
They just can't leave well enough alone, it seems. Like they've don't you make enough money already?
For me, it's bewildering. They are the go-to for like corporate greed in the gaming world, and there's a reason people don't trust them.
And rightly so, because they'll just go straight back to it as soon as they're given the opportunity.
Yeah, but so Star Wars Squadrons not having it, does that make up for Battlefront 2 and then this, even though it's more of an isolated incident, hopefully? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, I don't know. 6 of one, half a dozen of another. My main item for this one is the Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War Zombies. There's so many, like, I feel like there's about 7 colons in that title. Was released on the 1st of October. We're somehow already in October, and I think either end of this month or beginning of November, a new card will be upon us. And it seems that people have sort of forgiven the series. I don't know if it was just me. From Ghosts, maybe to Black Ops 4, maybe? Maybe World War II earned people back on this side. But it seems like with this iteration, and with Warzone, this has earned gamers' love once again. But yeah, this past Thursday, we had a cinematic reveal, as well as like a mini dev diary about the mode itself. This is apparently a, quote, new zombies experience that will, quote, build a new chapter in the zombies universe. And the map is going to go by the name Die Maschine? I don't know, I'm trying to say it with an accent. It featured Weaver, the guy from Black Ops 1 with the eye patch, if anyone remembers him. I do, actually. When I saw him straight away, I was like, oh, that's Weaver. Although I did call him Craven for some reason. It showed off the usual kind of gameplay, the usual suspects of like crazy experiments going wrong, and I apologize if I'm saying any of this is new, but it's not, because I haven't played zombies for a long time. But to me, it's new, so I'm going to call it new. The concept of the power not being on at the beginning means that everything's dark and you only have a flashlight cone on your gun.
Okay.
So there's an extra little element to stuff not being able to see, which I think is pretty cool. You got the good old mystery box in there, which everybody loves. The ray gun, this weird kind of proximity vortex mine thing going on. Sentry guns, this dripping, glowing green zombie that looks a lot like a glowing one from Fallout. I think mutated hellhounds, a gun that was kind of akin to the BFG, and kill streaks in this. So you can call in a chopper gunner and mow down a horde. It looked cool. There's 4 new characters. No sign as of yet of the OG tank Nikolai Takiao Richthofen. I think they did really get into that story in maybe Black Ops 3 and 4, so I think probably want to leave that alone, at least for a little bit. Because I haven't played it, I haven't bore the brunt of that, but I think I saw some cinematic stuff and they got very deep into that story. It got all time travel-y and they were killing like alternate timeline versions of themselves. It was going to be mental. But yeah, the map itself is an homage of sorts to the very origin of Zombies map, Nach der Untoten. But it's an expanded version where you can battle in the outside area, and there's an underground bunker as well, I think. It's going to feature global progression that what I would assume applies ranks, unlocks, and XP to your Activision account, kind of like it does already in Warzone. So if I play on my Xbox One, if I then download Warzone on PlayStation 4, I can log in as my Activision account and carry on my level from being there. So it doesn't matter the platform I'm on, which is good. It means you can chop and change if you've got different ones. And now, rather than just starting with a bog standard M1911, you can now have a zombies loadout So you can drop right in with your gun, you set up your perks, and get killing immediately. You don't have to scurry up the points and cross your fingers when you go to the box. It also seems like the Pack-a-Punch upgrades are going to be more of a skill tree that you can pick how to progress. So whether you want faster reloads or a better sight or stopping power rounds or stuff like that, rather than just put it in machine, get it out, now you shoot lasers. There's lethal, tactical, and support slots that you can all play together and mixed, and you can combo stuff. So I think I saw like this freezing thing mixed with like a sonic blast. Basically, you can have everyone has abilities in their class, and that can be combined together. Not revolutionary by any means, but quite a cool thing in the Call of Duty universe, and something that's, as far as I'm aware, not been done in zombies before. And now, a big first that I think it's one of the few things they stole from. So Ghosts, as much as it was panned by pretty much everybody, the extraction mode where you go and fight the aliens, you like go in, complete your objective, and then you have to escape.
Okay.
You can now exfil. So if you feel like you're going to die, you be like, "Do you know what, guys, we're not going to survive another round. Let's get out of here," and you'll get better XP and you'll keep rewards. Where if you keep going, you think, "Oh, I'll push this one more round," and you die, you lose whatever rewards. A big note on this is that all post-launch content is going to be free, which is quite a big thing coming from Call of Duty. But I suppose they've got the player base to be able to do it.
They love a map pack, don't they? They love a map pack.
They do, and there's, I feel like now they've dropped that, and the money's going to be in the battle pass. That's where it's at now. Games as a service. But they're also quite big on being like, this is canon, and like continuity matters to them. So I think the people that write the stories for it are very much like, I don't know if they're doing it like comics where like this is a different universe or whatever, so they can do what they want, but they're very much trying to keep the story as, there's a focus on, I guess, on the story of it, where necessarily that wouldn't be in other games. It's just, here's a horde or survival mode, go. And I am actually really excited for this Call of Duty, which is, it's been a long time since I've been able to say that. Warzone has probably helped with that, even though it's not a direct comparison because it's not going to be that. But I am probably going to pick this up, and the zombies mode looks like a lot of fun.
Fair enough. I haven't really thought about it, to be honest. COD just isn't on my radar anymore.
As a PC gamer, it's not really, they're not selling to you, are they? It's a console shifter.
Yeah, I mean,
so they're playing to a different crowd, I think.
I actually like World War II. I did get quite into that, feeling the classic COD days. But,
I played that. It was the closest thing to World at War without being World at War.
I love
World at War was good, apart from MP40 Juggernaut drum round.
The fucking dual mags. Ugh.
STG 44, mate. That gun did not move when you shot it.
The laser beam of.
We could. We'll start our Call of Duty podcast maybe sometime in the future.
Yeah, right after the Arnold podcast.
Reminisce about a specific gun for an hour. But yeah, if you pick this up, Matt, I'll definitely play it with you. But I think a lot more people are going to be picking this up, especially within my social circle. I think the goodwill of Warzone is going to carry over to this. But yeah, that's all I've got for you.
Oh, I'm washed clean by the winds of your vast knowledge.
Thanks.
This match will get red hot. Now go!
So that's me, done talking now. We are now going to move on to our episodic question, which was, which 3 celebrities, living or dead, would we invite round for a gaming night? I'm going to pass over to Matt for his answer to this. Matt, who are your 3?
So this is going to be a bit of a story. So when people say celebrity, right? I consider Shigeru Miyamoto a celebrity.
So I was going to go down this route, but I thought, so I thought of my answers, I think, before you wrote yours down, and I'm glad that we went different routes because it means you've got different people, because I feel like we would have probably had overlapping choices.
Yeah.
So I tried to stick within the realm of like classic celebrity, so like a film star or a music artist or something like that. So yeah, I feel like it's good that we've got different picks, but please continue.
So Shigeru Miyamoto, obviously, I would just love to sit down with him and play a game and just get his thoughts on what he thinks is going on.
You would have to invite a translator as well, though, so that's 2 people already.
In this fantasy universe, I can speak Japanese.
or he brings his subtitles.
Yeah, he brings. He's got like a whiteboard he hangs around his neck, and he can write in English, but he can only speak in Japanese.
It's both a gift and a curse. And he thinks in Chinese.
he's curiously trilingual. But yeah, just having him around, being like, "What do you think of that?" Get some nuggets of gold from him.
Would you play Mario, the games
No.
that he's made, and ask him? You
No.
get him to play other games and get him to critique those.
Yeah, I'd like pick my like Resi 4. I'd like sit down and we play Resi 4 together, and he'd be alright with that because we'd be friends also in this universe. I'm assuming.
Okay, you've created your own canon.
I have, yeah. Me and Shiggy's. He's writing on his whiteboard. I'm speaking in Japanese, even though he understands Chinese. It's a mess.
But somehow you make it work.
We do. It's like
It's like a weird TV show.
like a 90s sitcom or something. He can only write in English. He only speaks Chinese.
How will they ever get along?
John Romero was my next one up because every interview I've ever seen with him, he seems like a sound dude who likes a beer.
And we met him.
And we did.
And he was cool. He was really sound, down to earth. Like, he could not have spoken to us after the show if he didn't want to, when he did. Like, he spoke, well, obviously not just us, but he spoke to everybody who hung around.
Yeah, he he made a line, shook everyone's hand, chatted to everyone.
Signed some more. Did he sign your book? Did he sign your Doom photo? Did you bring something with you?
He signed my book, and I've now got it mounted on my wall on a Doom poster because that's not something I want to lose. He seems like a sound dude, and I know this is like two game designers, and you might say, Matt, they're not celebrities. Shut your nerd mouth, you freak. They are celebrities. If I saw Jeremy and Moser walking down the street, I'd fucking stop him.
They're like deities.
And also shout outs to Suda51, who I wouldn't consider a celebrity, but he seems like he's absolutely fucking mental.
He's insane, yeah.
On to the tradish celebrities, Keanu Reeves.
Of course.
Obs. He seems like a nice guy who'd like a chill drink. And that's what I'm thinking about, people who would like bring energy to a party. So I've got my final three. I've mentioned a lot of names. Then Terry Crews, because apparently he's a gamer and he is the most positive man I think I've ever witnessed alive. So
he's very intense, yeah.
And I would love to say Vin Diesel, but he seems like a bit of a freak. So he's out. Vin Diesel's out. He's a D&D guy, but he's out. So the final list would be John Romero, Terry Crews, and Keanu. That would be my three for a night in. Mario Kart, maybe some Mario Party, maybe some other non-Nintendo party games that are all eluding me right now. But
bit of Among Us for the lads.
No. Yeah, that's my three. Sam, what's your three?
So as I mentioned before, I've gone for a bit more of a traditional route. I tried to keep it to people who I like know of, or I feel like at the very least would qualify as gamers. So I'm for sure inviting Henry Cavill for three reasons. He's actually a gamer. If anyone's seen that beautiful video of him building a gaming PC in a vest with a mustache, he's a bit more local to me, being from the UK. So it's like an actual possibility that it might be able to happen. And he's a beautiful man. I'm not even ashamed to admit it. I would ask if he could come as Geralt. That would be the icing on top of that cake. But I wouldn't expect it. I would have to be careful, though, because Danielle's a very big fan of him. I mean, rightly so. Like I said, he's a beautiful man. So there'd be some healthy social distancing going on.
As in, Danielle is in a different house.
Yes. They'd have to trade. Wherever he lived, she'd have to go there and he'd have to come here. I'd also ask Will Smith, who I have no idea is a gamer, but I don't think Will Smith, kind of like Terry Crews, has never not been up for anything. And he just seems like a very nice human being. And I think he'd pop off if we were playing Mario Party. If he gets a star, does a swap, you know he's going all out. I feel like he's never, I was going to say never off, but I feel like when you see him in a lot of stuff, he's just being Will Smith. That is kind of his natural persona and natural like state.
He's a Scientologist, though.
Is he? I don't think he was. I don't think he was in that crew.
I think he is.
That's all right. I don't get into religion. And my final choice, I'd have Chloe Grace Moretz, who, if you don't know from the name, is Hit Girl from Kick-Ass. Because from what I know and what I've seen, she's a pretty intense gamer. She's a fan of Overwatch and Rocket League. And I know this is a bit of my Neanderthal brain kicking in, but she's a pretty lady. And she seems pretty down to earth. And I didn't want to invite just 3 men. So I got a female
Sausage
presence.
Fest is the best kind of nerd night in.
It is, but I don't know. I'm trying to be fair and across the board. Yeah, so Henry Cavill, Will Smith, Chloe Grace Moretz. That is my 3.
Nice. I respect it. And shooting directly off the back of your answer, like a hot pimple, Sam, what's the question for next episode?
What a simile that is to end on. The question for the next episode is, what makes a good boss fight?
Ooh. Ooh.
Into the heat of battle. Go for it.
So that's it for this episode, guys. Thank you so much for listening, as always.
Yeah, thank you for choosing to spend your time here with us. And if you like what you heard, you can subscribe to the channel and you can ping on that ding-a-ling, get notifications. I meant ring the bell.
That he did. But yeah, check out more content around the channel. We've got an interview up from Pillbug Interactive that was very fun to both record. I was going to say both fun to record and edit, but it wasn't fun to edit at all because editing is never fun.
But they were great guys to talk to, super knowledgeable, and really, really nice.
Yeah, they were really nice, really cool. So yeah, check out our interview with Pillbug Interactive as well.
And you can follow us on both Instagram and Facebook if you like those platforms. And shoot us a message, make a post on our wall, and we'll chat to you about stuff.
Yeah, do you know what? Even if you don't like those platforms, follow us anyway, just because we kind of need it.
Metrics.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But thank you again, and you take care.